Okay, so now I continue a record. Just now I forgot to record. Yeah, so again, like every LC context different, right? So I can't really tell you, okay, whether this pricing is completely suitable for you or completely not suitable for you or not lah. Yeah, but then I do have opinions or at least a few, how to say, like past information that everyone can refer to lah. Yeah, so I think the things that I prepare here is also, I think, probably the one that answer you guys' question. Yeah, so how much should I price, right? Because maybe for certain other LCs, you also don't know how to feedback, or maybe for your own one, okay, you set already, but then don't know fit or not. So I would say it really depends on your LC market, like what I mentioned just now. But yeah, so that's why we work as a commission as a whole, right? So but we have this thing, okay? So that's why, I mean, in WNC 1 month ago, I share you guys this now, the research that Natalie consolidated here. So like from here, you can actually see in terms of, your predecessors, all of them, like how much did they set for the pricing. And this is the average one. So keep in mind the keyword average, right? Means there might be some prices lower than it. There might be some prices higher than it. But, no matter how low it go, it's still average towards, let's say this one, 3,000. And no matter how high it go, it average towards this 3,000. So these few things, others is also like the ones that you can benchmark or reference on. And same goes with this, even including for, like SME or MNC, you can see, okay, like how would the gap be, or let's say the agak-agak. So again, I would say you really do need to test around your market, but you can start with these few figures, I would say, and then you test with it, and then you see towards your market, it really work or not. So I would say, right, the safe range is kind of 3,000 to 5,000 for one keynote plus branding. Like that, I mean, that's what I derive from here lah. And then here is, one keynote plus branding, meaning that if there's more deliverables, then the pricing would be higher. Yeah, but this is kind of like the safe range. So I would say if you want to set around 3,000, it's fine. Maybe even 2,000, I think it's still okay. But lower than that, then I probably would say it's too low. Like in my opinion wise, I would say it's too low. So when I see some of you guys put 500, then I would feel a bit, a bit not heartbroken lah, but feel a bit bad for you guys because you do need to understand. I mean, not you do need to understand. I believe you also experience yourself. Like let's say you have one partner, then you need to liaise a lot of things with them. Then 500 only. Yeah. But again, like that's why you are here to test the market, right? So in previous term, we don't have something like this. Now we have it. So it's time for your term to actually test run on this tool. Actually see, okay, let's say you really want to set 2,000, maybe 2,500. Then you test among your market to see whether this thing fits or not. But one thing to keep in mind is partner will always think lower is better. I mean, especially for corporates. I mean, we are dealing with corporates, then they do want to maximize the profits and lower the price. So if they don't try to squeeze your price lower, then they are not corporates, and you don't have anything to learn here. Okay, so furthermore, definitely in your pricing, right? So I haven't gone into negotiation L&D, but maybe a few things that you can still sort of know, right? So definitely the question that you guys would have while setting the pricing, or maybe even talk to partners. So partners say, oh, I have a couple questions for you, even though budget is not an issue. So they ask, right? So Isaac is a non-profit, right? So why do you charge us money provided for your people, for your volunteers like that? Yeah, but what they actually want to ask, right? I mean, in a way, this is a bit rude, but okay, I mean, can understand where they are coming from. That they're asking, if I invest money in you, right, is my money channeling to the right place, or does it go towards, your private account, which, okay, I mean, for some of your FL, it is the private account, but you're not using it for private use. Okay, that's another conversation. Yeah, so is it really properly channeling towards the community? So going back to this, right, I will also ask you, is your IGV team really doing something that is benefiting the community? Or like for your AWA event, is it something that benefit you or not? If it isn't, then I would say, yeah, they shouldn't provide you money. Okay. Yeah. And next one is also, what makes your product cost this price or that price? So again, it's the value of your product, your value worth this amount, not only the deliverables itself. So it's like in terms of how you're solving the partner pain, or what kind of gain you're providing to them. So the deliverables is the thing that brings this like create this value, but in the end, it's the value itself. And then also, if they can provide speaker or in-kind, will you reduce your budget? So one thing to do, keep in mind, right, is if you are reducing a budget, it might seem that you are desperate. I mean, can understand that. Sometimes I do have these kind of thoughts also. It's completely normal. Then reducing budget means that you're never confident with your product. So you can renegotiate to try in terms of smaller initiative, maybe provide lesser deliverables like that, but never reduce unless they propose equal values that you need. Then you cut some deliverables. So for example, right, let's say your money is really used to buy laptop, right? Then they say, oh, I directly give you a laptop instead. Can or not? Then can, because they are providing equal value like that. But if let's say they say, oh, your money used to buy laptop, right? But here I got one software I want to provide you. Can we go with cheaper, or even I don't need to pay you? Then it's not actually the same value, and then it's not tackling your pains also. So you shouldn't simply, take it off or reduce the price. And then moving forward, so how should we even tackle this, right? So in terms of the first question, so you can explain the business model of IZ, how NGO work. We are non-profit, but then we still have operation costs. We just don't use that cost to actually earn more money. We use those costs to invest back towards the youth development, the community development, all these few things. And if you really do want a breakdown in terms of what your so-called operation cost or fixed cost includes, right, here it is. Okay, so you can talk to your FL more, because your FL is managing budget things, or your LCP more. Then they know in terms of the national budget, what does it include in terms of some of the things. And your LC also have your own LC cost also. But here I'm listing out the national costs. Yeah. So definitely you can tell them you do have full-time employees, HQ, like I am your full-time employee, I am full-time paid. So we do have people full-time managing the organization also. And also definitely we have the HQ office rental, even though it's IZ in UM, for example, but then you're operating IZ as a whole and really building the whole infrastructure, all those things. And you do have your legal and finance team. So besides Celine, we also, Celine is one MCP, but then we do have lawyers that we do consult to, and then we do have accountants also. Yeah, so to process all these things, a lot of things are happening in the background, just that you don't know only. Yeah, but now I tell you, then you can tell partners, and even including your training fees. So you explain to them it's training fees, but it's actually the conference summit. So we don't do it for fun, conference summit. It is very fun, but then in terms of, even commission call, so by building all this capacity on you guys, we do, this labor is worth money also, yeah. But besides it's worth money, it does spend real cost also in terms of running all these things. So in order for you to run a proper project, for the project to happen, you do need training towards your employee also, right? So yeah, you also have even your NLP to come in, partnership fees. NLP, we don't really pay them. We pay them with the youth we have. Yeah, but then there are certain other partnerships. For example, the PM one. So you not only look in your own function, you also need to look at other functions like ISA as a whole. And then, for example, PM, they recently also have a partner come in, and then that partner also is actually like it's an SME lah. Yeah, then they do the coaching so that your overall entity coaching can be better. And so your operation cost, like your Zoom is one cost, right? HubSpot, in case you don't know, HubSpot is paid one, so really utilize it. Yeah, because without the paid feature, then we can't access all the things that we have now, your logistic, transportation, whatever. Even website is also paid. And even your OGV marketing is also part of the fee, like your OGV marketing run all those things, just that maybe you only synergy with IGV, then you forgot that, like that. So you really do incur costs, okay? So after spending so much time talking about that, let's go towards the next one. So what makes your product cost on this? Then you can tell them that, we have worked with a couple of partners and we have evidence here, okay? Maybe your entity haven't yet, but then other entities already have. Yeah. So we do have worked with a couple of partners within the same budget, if not higher. And then it is essential. Okay, maybe you don't say if not higher. Okay, that sounds a bit cocky. Okay, never mind. Yeah. So, and it is essential for us to carry out the operation scale so that we can achieve what we design. So in a way, you also need to, there's this thing called what? Like when you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, something like that. So, if you pay lesser, then definitely you get lesser because we don't have enough funds to run things. But of course, you don't directly tell partners this. Yeah. And then in terms of they ask whether can they provide speaker or not. In terms of this, actually even the other questions, right? You can also understand more in terms of their intention on why they want to ask this also. Yeah. triggered with the price. Yes. Okay. Anyways, come back. Yeah. So understand, what is their concern? Is it that they really have a tight budget, or they really don't see the value, or maybe their expectations are different like that? Because if, let's say, depending on the reason, what is their pain or concern, right? You would need to adapt differently. So for example, if let's say, okay, they have a tight budget, right? Then probably you can throw out some things that may not be that important in terms of the deliverable. Then maybe if let's say is the expectation not aligned, right? Then you might need to align back the expectation. Okay, what I can provide is maybe on this, based on this scale or partnership amount, like that. Yeah. Then I think overall that's all. Yeah. So next one. So in the end of the day, right, it's not about your needs or their needs, right? But it's actually about the common one. Yeah. Like both of you guys, what is you guys common needs and interest? And it's about turning these things, right, into the value proposition thing, which is what we call value proposition, like that. So by understanding what they want and then creating the opportunity itself. Yeah. So at the end of the day, selling is about encouraging, empowering, and also influencing. So I mean, I know I do sound quite triggered in terms of some things, but in the end of the day, it's really in terms of how you really see in terms of the solution that you're offering is actually solving the issues for youth and for community, and at the same time for your partner, so that when the lead prospects see this, then they feel engaged to buy the product. So I think overall that's all in terms of the pricing R&D. Yeah, any questions? Okay, let me stop resume. Okay. So your partner has been asking why they provide a keynote speaker and I still have to charge them. Maybe you can answer me in terms of like what you share with them. Like how did you show them the value?
I would say because I think it's also mismatched from my side because we didn't do well, and then but coming back, it would be like employer branding and also a partnership opportunity sharing. And I think we did wrong in the part where we put in like the cost structure, we put in keynote speaker, and then we put a price beside that. And then they were wondering why do we charge them for this keynote session? So but in a general sense, I just told them that we need some funds to sustain our club. Yeah.
Okay, understood. I think okay, based on the few things that you put wrongly, then I think that reaction is fine. Yeah. But in terms of this, probably like when next time you didn't put the keynote speaker thing, but if let's say partners still ask, right, you can let them know that you are charging them in terms of the youth outreach that you can provide or the youth engagement that you are providing. So in terms of running all these events, right? So you can take a step back a bit on the, okay, I use offensive or defensive, but it's not really trying to fight with partner. You can take the defensive step that you say, oh, because we're actually running, like we need the cost to run this, but you can take the offensive step, like a step further to tell them, actually running these events, like, I mean, your strength is also youth organization, right? You can get a lot of youth. And that's why conference, we can sell to DHL, sell to Maxis also. So we do have this youth outreach, especially if you have a certain faculty, or let's say your university is the specific one that the partner wants, like that. So this is also what we call employer branding when you try to break it down. So it's the branding among students, among UPM, like that, or let's say a certain faculty students. Yeah. But even if you don't have the certain faculty or they mention uni, actually it's also providing the employer branding like that. Yeah, so how can we put volunteer fee as our cost since we are not paying the volunteer, but charging them? Okay, this is a very good question. So I would say this is more on you are charging in terms of, okay, these volunteers are working and then the partner are paying for the cost that these volunteers are working on. So yes, you are charging your volunteers, but maybe okay, this is a very challenging question that I don't know, some people might not be able to accept, is actually, are you charging the full price on your LVV or your MYV or not? So for me, I think if let's say I go through this 4 weeks journey, right, go through this leadership development, experience all these things, get all this exposure, I think $100 is super, super cheap and it's very worth lah. And then when you actually run all these things, right, for your youth, actually your cost is definitely more than 100 ringgit per person. So if you actually look towards the finance analysis, right, actually the one project per volunteer, you need at least 250. So you're actually not charging your youth in terms of all these costs. And then part of the cost, you're actually charging partner. And then partner is actually, in a way, sponsoring this youth to be able to actually run this project and develop the leadership and also impact the community. So another way that you can think of this is that imagine if today you didn't close any sales, right? What will happen to your project? Maybe your project still run, but then your project will be in deficit like that. So it means that actually no one is actually funding these volunteers to actually run the project like that. I mean, you are running on deficit then like how many times of deficit you can run, then definitely it doesn't work. So you do need to know, like on OGV side, when we are charging the OGV fee, right, it's actually not charging them full one, part of it is actually covered. So it's a bit like, how can I say, is okay, a bit like, I use an example is, let's say maybe study exchange, right? So let's say you go under government program, you go for an exchange study like that, opportunity like that. So you are paying for this experience. Maybe you pay 1,000, but actually the actual cost is definitely not only 1,000. Maybe it's, there's 10,000, just that it's sponsored by either government or sponsored by the corporates that the government people has fined like that. So hopefully now I explain on this, you can understand more in terms of the overall Isaac business model. Because when you understand that, then you know better in terms of, why are we even charging this or that? Yeah, but if you can't understand now, it's understandable because it is quite a big picture thing. Okay, how low price we can charge from partner? I don't really have an answer on this, but then based on what I mentioned just now, try not to go below 2,000. Yeah, because the benchmark around 3,000 that. But I would say this is the low price thing is, again, don't try to go as low as possible. Like sometimes you do need to let go of certain partners, because I'll use design industry as an example, right? Is that in the design industry, the pricing is a mess. Like, I mean, if you know designers, it's like maybe some companies, they pay designer $50 to design something only, but then actual value is maybe like at least 2,000 to design. Okay, maybe not 2,000, 1,000 to design that thing. But then because some designers were desperate that they want a certain cash, and then the market or people who are paying go lower and lower, and then some even expect you do free design for them. So in a way, if you are going too low, you're actually ruining your own market also. Yeah, but I don't really have an answer on this. Okay, how do we adjust to partner budget? I think for my approach would be the thing I mentioned just now, is that depending on partner budget, you can plug up certain deliverables also. But I think on my end, I also treat myself as, advising my client. So the reason why we set this pricing, right, is because based on this pricing, you can get this certain amount of value. So let's say they want to impact 50 students, they want to impact 100 students like that, but then they can only pay for 50. Then I would also advise them, okay, if let's say your budget is fine, then I would suggest you to go towards the amount that can impact 100 people like that. Yeah, then because you can achieve your objective better. But then just because you advise doesn't mean that they suddenly have the budget. Yeah, then you can also go with, for example, right, using just now the 7,000, 6,000, right? Maybe you can go with 7,000 to 6,000 without removing any deliverables. But then you do need to keep in mind is if you do that, it's very dangerous because again, it's ruining the market. And then also second thing is, if they are going to squeeze your price this time, right, they are going to squeeze your price the other time, next time also. And then it will become a very unhealthy loop. So again, is plug out the deliverables. Okay, I'll just answer until these three because actually commission costs should be end already. Then do we usually include the price quotation in the proposal or put? Okay, I don't know what's the difference between price quotation and sales package. Yeah, but I would say my approach is normally first meeting, I would already ask partner whether they have budget or not. And then normally when we talk about this, then partner would prefer that we include the pricing, the quotation into the, together with the deliverables. And then for me, price quotation and sales package is the same. Probably you can approach me afterwards if it's different for you. So far the PIC we have meet are more keen in terms of becoming an LP. So how do we emphasize the value of an FP? Anyone can give money. Or my thing, you want to explain what do you mean by anyone can give money?
Because one of the PIC we had sales meet with, then when we asked whether they are more keen on becoming a LP or FP, they say they are more keen on LP lah, because they feel like if wanna give money like as a FP, if wanna give money, then everyone can give money also. They don't see the point of becoming a FP. Yeah.
Okay. I would say probably this partner you might need to drop. So I think on your end, you can explain to them in terms of providing this. Okay, I really don't understand what they mean by anyone can give money. Probably they think is, money is replaceable, but then the LP thing, they are very unique, then they are not replaceable. But then at least for me, I would actually share with them how we would use this money on. So going back towards the question here, right, is why do you charge money? Is it channeling to the right place? So this goes back towards how much you understand what your IGV or EWA is doing. Is it really developing youth or not? Is it really contributing back towards the community? How does it contribute back? Like, do you run all these things like that? So I would explain the value on this. But then I think the more alarming thing on this is I wouldn't suggest you tell your partner that you can choose to be LP or FP. I mean, because if I can be LP already without paying, then why should I become FP? I mean, that's the very real question. So wouldn't suggest you approach any new partners to tell them, oh, you can either choose be LP or FP, like that. Okay, hopefully answers your question. Yeah, okay, so that's all. Yeah, so welcome to the group coaching. Yeah, so Natalie will be coaching also. Yeah, so here are your groups. Okay, I see Sunisa very happy. Okay, anyways, yeah, so for group 4 and group 5, these would be you guys group, and then Natalie will be your commission coach. Okay, so welcome your commission coach. Okay, woo! So you can book her time here. You can book for group 1 to group 3, you can book my time here lah. So for your upcoming group coachings and O2Os, then Natalie would be together with you for the upcoming 4 months. Yeah, so your new buddy is Natalie. But on your side, if you do need O2O with me, you can let me know like that. But just to let you know, yeah, your mama here is Natalie. Okay, so please arrange with your respective groups. Yeah, so let's say especially for maybe Hirawa, Penang, Sunway, like you have 2 PIC, so you need to coordinate with 4 people like that. Coordinate the dates and then book it before this Saturday. Okay. Yeah. And then moving on is commission teacher. Yes. So the BD one is this color aqua. I mean, it looks a bit ugly here, but it looks very good on the video. Okay, so you can look towards the Insta video MC Malaysia. Then you can buy it here. Okay, so really buy it. Like it's a once in a lifetime thing. Then it's the first time we have BD shirt because previously it's PD. Yeah. And then here is the Mondelez. So also want to recognize TU and UPM for having 2 teams. Yeah, I mean the others 1 team is also very good. And for the others, no matter where you're coming from, really do encourage you to join. And then me, Natalie, and the other ESTs are also joining this. Yeah, so we are all in this together. Yeah, so again, I think you can refer back to us previous, I mentioned this design thinking thing, which I think is very interesting. Yeah, and then you can also win some voucher, but I think the voucher is just an add-on, but you do win a voucher. And then we only have 7 more teams that can get the voucher. And then we also have another award is the highest LC that have most participants then can get an extra voucher for the LC also. But again, no matter which LC you're from, you can also join, like mix with other LCs also can. But if you want to win this, then you join with your LC like that. And then no need all Isaacers. One Isaacer with others is non-Isaacer is fine also. Okay. So I think that's all. Really sorry on the delay 8 minutes. Then you guys can put down the feedback, and then if you have any call to action, you can put it down here. Oh, okay, great job, Ali. Yeah, so you can put it down here. Then next week can check on here like that. Yeah, that's all for today. Oh, okay, she's the cool aunt. Okay, yeah. Longer, the commission call time is until 10:30. Longer Q&A. Okay. Yeah, so you guys can fill in the feedback and also update your call to action here. I'll just play one last song, then we take photo. Okay, because quite late already. We take photo now.